Okay, good stuff. Let's see. Share my screen. All right, everybody got that? Oop. It's going over here. I can see everybody's faces. All right, let's get this party started, guys. This is our FYR Partner Zoom first Friday. So excited for this, excited for all the growth we've got going on, the business everyone's doing. So looking forward to celebrating everybody and welcoming all of our new folks. And because we do have a lot of new folks coming in, we'll go through and just kind of give a refresher on some of the stuff that's out there and some of the resources, and then celebrate some accomplishments and welcome folks. And then I'm going to share some thoughts and ideas on building your business at the end of the call as well. So get things cranking. All right. So I think I've met most of you, but if I haven't, I'm Dave, my wife Kristen, and we started the FYR group, just the two of us back in the lonely days when we first came over, and this is what we targeted to do. Had an opportunity to help grow the company, and then we're back full time, working on building this group. But the cool thing that happened. And I was actually just on the phone with Brett and Amy. Cool thing that happened while I was away, so to speak, in a corporate role, was that, this incredible group happened. All right. Some of the most amazing people came in, and we had some people who saw the early opportunity, caught the vision of fund your reason and what that means and what we're able to do to impact lives of others. And you guys have brought in all of your friends and some other incredible people from markets all over the country and now all over the world. So pretty neat as I look through here and look at all the people that are now feel like family. And I know we're in states all over the place, and we may have some people in from other countries today. Yep, we do. I see Maverick on there. He's over in France. So we've got a lot of great folks. So really cool. So if you're new to this group, this is an amazing group of humans. So I encourage you to dig in and get to know everybody. Take advantage of the resource. I know we're doing referrals all over the place and that kind of stuff as well. Then people get together. I know, Keith and Kyle got a chance to run together, down in Florida, and hang out and all that stuff. So a lot of fun. All right. Kristen, we got some birthdays?
Yes, we do. So coming up very soon, we have Margaret Morgan on June 10th and Kiana Brantley on June the 11th. So I want to wish you guys happy birthday. Not sure if you're on the call, but if you are, I hope you celebrate all month long like I do. Did we miss anyone's birthday?
Do we have any other June birthdays not on here? Nope.
All right.
Okay. Oh. Slow birthday month. So Margaret and Kiana, you guys get all the love for this month. You get all the love. And Kristen does absolutely celebrate all month long. It's fun. All right. Who do we got?
Oh man, I'm so excited. This has been exciting. I mean, even as of like yesterday evening, we were having agents join. I think some of you guys might be here today. So I'm just going to give a huge shout out to Monique Williams in Delaware, Brianna Cappers in Delaware, Andrea Babin up in Maine, Samantha Wardham in, I think I butchered your last name, sorry, in PA. Kelly Tanzola, this is super exciting. Kelly is not only an agent in New Jersey, but she's also the new broker in New Jersey. So we're super excited to have Kelly on board with us. Bradley Anderson is our first agent in South Dakota. So welcome, Bradley. Wendy is in Texas. Actually in the same area as Michelle and Grady, so that's super fun for you guys. Arlene is in Delaware, Rashad is in New Jersey, and Michelle McKnight is in PA. So welcome, guys. If you're on the call, please say hi.
Yeah, who of our new folks are in here? I think I see Wendy's on there. Wendy, are you able to unmute?
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
we're so glad you're here, Wendy. It's really exciting to have you here with us. Glad you're able to jump on the call. I know you're just coming on board. Any thoughts on like, what your excitements and enthusiasms are for jumping into EXP in the group?
Well, I was actually part of EXP back in 2019 up until about a little over a year ago, and we made a move out here to Greenberry, took a break for homeschooling, figured things out, and now I'm jumping back in, and I am just blown away by this group already. It's been amazing. Such a wonderful experience, and I'm just excited. I'm excited now to share the opportunity with others, agents that I know, and to get them a part of this amazing group. I mean, y'all are just amazing, and the EXP we know is amazing. So
Awesome. Well, we're so glad you're here. Thanks. I put you on the spot, so thanks for.
I'm sorry.
I figured you could handle it. That's awesome. Good deal. All right, we got anybody else on here? Does anybody have a guest that's here, by the way? Want to introduce their guest?
Yeah.
Good morning, it's me, Arlene, and I just wanted to thank every single one of you. You guys have all made me feel so welcomed, and I am ready to get this started with all you guys. So thank you for welcoming me.
Yes,
Welcome.
absolutely.
And because I think all of you are on the call, but maybe not, but I love Monique. I think it's Monique and Arlene and yes, and Brianna. What is your acronym for your little threesome there? You want to share that?
Your acronyms.
Yeah.
K-BAM.
That's
Or BAM, yeah.
Love it.
Love it. That's it. You guys are being a force.
Lots of stuff going on. Yeah, lots of movement. You guys have had a lot of folks coming in. Love to see when we have new people joining and then a bunch of new people joining with those people. It's you're bringing in some great people when a lot of other people want to hang with them when they come over. So super fun. So glad you guys are here. Kathy, you got somebody, right?
I do. She's at a doctor's appointment, so she doesn't have the camera on, but she's iPhone. Her name's Barbara Wooten, and she's a long-term friend of mine, probably 25 years now or something like that. Also a veteran.
Awesome.
She retired as a colonel in the Army Reserve, and so she's joining us today.
Nice. Well, Barbara, thank you for your service, and we're so glad you're here. Any friend of Kathy's is a friend of ours, so we're excited to have you hanging out with us and looking forward to getting to know you. I know you're at the doctor's office, so yeah, no worries.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry I'm in here with the doctor, so I'm unable to speak. Thank you, Kathy, for the invitation.
No problem. Glad you're here. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, you got Monique. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right. And so Michelle, Kelly, Frank Panuto, Patty Dunn, Denise Backus, Monique Williams, Chris Cunningham, Chuck Roberts, and Jen Armstrong are the sponsors for that group. So congrats to you guys, and thanks for helping the family keep growing, bringing in some more awesome people. And congrats, Mr. Panuto, man of many talents. In addition to growing the company like wildfire and running around and speaking at a million events, doing EXP Explained and all the other cool stuff, you also managed to have some deals closed because Frank's been doing real estate for 375 years. And he looks good, though. He looks good.
Woohoo!
And so he also got a little stock thrown in his account. And any other deals that come through, all of his long-term relationships he's got out there are going to be at 100%. So not too shabby, sir.
So when we're talking about value propositions, when you're out there, there's one, right? So there's a $400 stock award for just doing what you do every day anyway. And these are the kinds of things. I had a conversation yesterday with a broker owner down in Smyrna. And he was really worried about his agents. If he comes over, my agent's going to be taken care of. And when you start talking about the stuff that we have, when you guys really become comfortable with what the value propositions of what we have to offer people, his head was spinning. And here's one of them, right? So just for doing what you're doing anyway, we all get $200 the first time we have a transaction, and here's another $400 for capping. There's $600 worth of stock. Well, and what's that look like in 5 years? What's that look like in 10 years? We didn't pay for it; it was given to us. So when you think about stuff like that, it's pretty awesome. The questions I ask are, one, and you guys know this one, is how many houses you have to sell to get ownership in your company, right? But the other part I always ask people is how many houses do you have to sell to get your cap back? You know, because there's another answer for that, which is another zero for most companies. So having these kinds of conversations, seeing this, right? In fact, you're putting that up there, Dave. I didn't know we were going to do that. But just seeing this kind of stuff and realizing, you know, what the opportunities are here and how gracious the company is, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a great value prop, and it's just, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I love that. How many houses you got to sell to get all your cap back? We have a couple of icons on here. So yeah, not too bad. Cool. All right. So we're looking forward to celebrating everyone as they hit their cap, everyone as they hit icon. And of course, you know, your first sale every year, you're getting stock as well. So definitely encourage everyone to do the equity program. If you're used to paying 5, 6, 7% in royalty to your company on every closed transaction, why not exchange 5% for company stock on every transaction? You're not going to miss the money going out, but instead of just handing the money over to your company, you're actually just buying stock with it, right? So you're actually getting the commission, you're buying stock, but the company's giving it to you at a 10% discount. So it's instantly worth more than what you're paying for it. It's like a 401k, right? It's like a company match when they're giving you that extra money. So put that in there, just let it, so do it on every transaction, let it ride. A couple of years down the road, you're going to go, oh my gosh, look at all this money I've got sitting in my brokerage account. And there's no vesting period on that. You own it right away. So definitely encourage you to do it. We've got some cool stuff going on. Kristen has been scrambling to keep our calendar up to date as lots of new stuff are going on and dates are getting changed and added and that kind of stuff. So it is all on the FYR calendar. So I'm going to let her talk about the FYR calendar in a second. But guys, this is you know, what we're building out to do more and more and more of. And so I'm definitely looking to, you know, have, you know, some things that you guys are doing and want to do and get those on the calendar as well. We know a lot of you guys are doing some additional stuff. And if you want to open them up to the whole FYR group, then we can put that out there as well. And, you know, and continue to build this out super robust. But there's lots of stuff coming up. You can see on there, if you look, FYR Friday with Dave, I'm going to talk about that in 1 second, but we've got Rich Tomasini is locked in, Chuck Roberts is locked in, and Cliff Freeman are locked in. So there'll be some of the folks on our upcoming calls. Frank, I'm going to ask you to interview Chuck on the 16th. If you're able to be there to do it. You thought you guys would do have some fun doing that, but
My pleasure.
that'd be great. So excited to learn from all of these guys. I mean, really just every one of them has the most incredible background in leadership and in growth. So you guys, you know, Rich and Cliff are not in our group, but they're some of the top growth leaders, some of the alphas, and are, you know, wildly successful in real estate, but also in agent attraction and that kind of stuff. And then Chuck is one of the top growth leaders in the country. And he did that on the Keller Williams platform. And now he's over here as part of our group, but he was a regional director, longtime regional director for them. And highly respected out there, but also, you know, in sales and everything else. So it'd be great to hear from him as well. And we're lucky to have him in our group. All right. Speaking of the calendars, Kristen, you want to share kind of how people can find what? Because I know some people are still trying to figure out where things are and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have 4 calendars, and so I would highly encourage everyone to at least go ahead and join 2. I want everyone to be joining the FYR group calendar. So, and again, we're going to go ahead and post these slides, but on the FYR group calendar, you're going to find everything that is pertinent to our group, which means any sort of like group Zooms that we're going to be doing, classes that Dave's going to be teaching. In addition, you're also going to be finding like things on the corporate level. So any of the EXP events, we're going to try to keep links in there for registration, what the dates are. You know, the agent leadership meetings every Friday, regional rallies coming up. That's going to be on our FYR Google Calendar. In addition to that, we also have a calendar for each region, because as we continue to grow, we want to make sure that you guys know what's happening in your region. But also, if you're on the East Coast and you're attracting an agent in the Central or the West Coast zones, we want to make sure that you guys know what's going on, when the meetings are, what's happening in that area, specifically in those states, So currently, so the calendar isn't crazy busy. We only have what's on the calendar for the agents that we currently have, for the states we currently have agents in, right? So if you're on the East Coast, I would love for you to go ahead and join the East calendar, on the East calendar, because we're on the East Coast. We're gonna have all of our happy hours in there, any live events that we are doing. If you want to join all of them, go ahead, and then you can just hide certain calendars, but that's what we're gonna have there. That way we're not constantly bombarding you with emails and chats and all that kind of stuff. So you guys can always go here, and I will keep it as up to date as I can. And if I've missed anything, like if your broker's doing something, or if there's a local happy hour that somehow I missed, let me know, and I'll go ahead and put it on the correct calendar for you.
Yeah, if you guys are doing something, Jimmy, in your local markets, that you know, that's open, right? And other people from the group, you may say, hey, well, you know, we've got, you know, kind of my group that I brought on, but there's other people, you know, within the fire group or whatever that are welcome to come join us, right? The more the merrier. Then, you know, put that on there. Go, you know, send the information to Kristen. She'll make sure it's on the calendar. People can look on there. So I encourage you guys to go back to the calendar, look at what's going on. You know, one of the things that we're trying to do is lead by example. So we're working on building out stuff right in our local market, you know, where we live and work, setting up local happy hours, setting up local trainings, doing all of those things and getting the people in the group involved in leading those and driving those and all of those things happening, and then getting good at inviting, right? To start to fill those up and to do that kind of stuff. So we're really looking at building that out, building out structures and systems. And we want to give that to you guys so that you guys can, you know, R&D, right? The rip off and duplicate and just structure it in your local markets. We love to have those things going on because, you know, it's awesome that we can run all of our tools virtually and get out there and do business and serve our clients that way. But having an opportunity to come together in our different groups, if you look at the map, there's a fire map too that shows where everyone in our group is in the country. And we can look at those, like the clumps of where we've got agents. It's like, man, let's get those agents together, you know, whether it could be, you know, whether it's it could be any kind of gathering, right? You know, but just getting together and do some stuff. We're looking to do, you know, things later on, like a family picnic for our area and our market, right? And get all the people together, bring your families, bring whatever, bring some food and, you know, hang out and have a good time and just kind of get to know each other better and that sort of stuff. So invite some guests. So anyway, that's what we're looking on building, but I think that'll be kind of our secret sauce to really, really keep growing. And we've got Fire Fridays. I did mention that. So we've got, you know, we've got all kinds of guests that come in. So these are the other Fridays, not the first Friday, where it's just focused on agent attraction. So those that are interested in taking advantage of the revenue share opportunity at EXP and want to know, you know, how to do it, what to do, you know, ask questions. So there's, you know, we've had Jay Kinder, Al Stasic have both come on, you know, recently, and they've talked about what to do, how they got started, you know, answer questions and all that kind of stuff. So I want to keep that in front of you guys, but that is such an incredible opportunity. And Kristen has been leading our transformational Tuesdays. Want to talk about those and how they're going?
Yeah, so I think they're going great. You know, we're having quite a few of you wake up every Tuesday morning with us at 8:30. And so I would love to see your smiling face, but more importantly, if you can join it and you're not camera ready, then that's totally fine. Just join in. I pick a devotional out of this book, one of the devotionals for that week. And we pray as a group and lift each other up and kind of celebrate what's going on in our lives. And these are not recorded, so you can pop in every Tuesday. Love that. You can pop in when you're available. And we also have a workplace chat where we can just kind of like communicate, keep each other hold accountable, pray for each other. If you want to join that workplace chat, let me know. Just send me a message and I'll be sure to go ahead and add you. But yeah, so it's every Tuesday morning, super casual, and I've really been enjoying them.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's been a really good time to get together, everybody. Go ahead.
Okay, so June happy hours. So we were going to be doing these maybe like once a month, twice a month, and then we just sat down and said, you know what, let's just do them. Let's just be consistent. Let's do it every single Thursday. And we picked a local restaurant. So we've committed to being there Thursdays in June. We could not be there last week, or I'm sorry, yesterday, because our daughter had her last church service for high school, but we're gonna be there all the other Thursdays, and at the end of the day, you know, sometimes last minute things come up, people are gonna come, they can't come. So all we know is that, you know what, every Thursday night, we're gonna have a date night. Maybe it's with a whole bunch of our EXP and other local realtors in the area, maybe it's just the two of us, it's totally fine. Last Thursday, it was David and I and Kyle and his daughter, and that was super fun. So it's one of those things where you can just go ahead and get it started, and if people in the area just know that it's gonna be happening every week at this restaurant and this time, then it's awesome. And you know, if your spouse is available at that time or a friend, then you know you have concentrated time every single week with them. So I mean, we would love to see happy hours happening around the country, actually. So if you want to go ahead and get that started in your area, let us know, because I might be out here on the East Coast, but have a friend that lives in Texas and Grady's doing happy hour, and I can go ahead and invite them. So if you want to go ahead and do that, or go ahead and ask us some questions about how we got started and what we're doing, then feel free to do that. But if you want to do it, we would love to be able to share it with everyone in our group, so then they can spread the word. And these are not recruiting events. There's no, you know, like, we just want to kind of get to know each other, since we're so spread out, and we just want to get to know other realtors. So this is just kind of like just a really fun networking time. So you can go ahead and send someone over to, you know, someone else's happy hour and not have to worry about them like EXP all over them.
Pouncing on them. Yeah, no, it's, yeah, we want to build community in the real estate community, you know, in each one of the local markets, right? And so that's kind of the premise behind all this. But it's been good. We have got people coming and going, make it super casual, no big deals, not even sponsored. We've decided for ours, we're paying for everybody's first drink when they get in. You know, it's fine. We just like, hey, come on in, grab a drink. Because a lot of people will come in, they go, hey, I got to go, either they got to go pick up my kids, or I got to go to a showing, or I got to do whatever. I mean, sometimes people just come in and go, you know, I'll just grab a Coke, but I just wanted to come in and say hi to everybody, and just passing through, shake hands and do whatever. That's cool. You make it super casual, super whatever, just do it regular. Then people know that that's a place that other realtors are there, they can show up, and a lot of times I woke up, you know, people will come in and then they'll be like, oh, hey, I saw that listing you put up, I got a question on that. And so business gets done during all of this. In addition to all of that, it's just a good time to do it. And like Kristen said, sometimes if we just commit to being there every time, then sometimes it'll just be us. And Nelia, by the way, she just had a Shirley Temple with extra cherries.
That's
So
right.
all right, I'm gonna zip through these other real quick, but guys, I do have a Calendly link out there. Open that back up again. So Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I've got a couple hours blocked off every week. And so if you guys want to connect with me, if you want to talk about your business, if you want to talk about sales business, you want to talk about your rev share business, you want to introduce me to someone, you want me to connect with someone, do whatever, I've got that time. The Calendly link is out there. If you need it, you can ping Chris and she'll make sure you've got it as well. And you can just jump on and grab a time. So it's open. It's kind of like open office time. So jump in, anything that I can help you guys with. I want to make myself available during those times. And obviously, if you have, you know, someone that needs to connect and it doesn't fit inside of that window, we'll find time to meet with them. But that's kind of an easy, you just go in and just grab spot, and you can set up to do a phone call or Zoom or whatever works best for you.
Yeah.
A couple of classes coming up. I did the attraction class in 2 sessions. Those are on our YouTube, our FYR YouTube page. So you can go back and watch those. It's 2 90-minute sessions all about the practical process of agent attraction. It's kind of a paint by numbers on how to go out and get appointments and talk to people, and then what to say. I'm going to be doing a team class, Leverage 1, 2, and 3, and that's all about building a team. And this is a class that'll be applicable for anyone who is thinking about starting a team, all the way through someone who has a team and looking to expand their team, or maybe looking to restructure their team in a way that financially works better. So we've got so that class is coming up in July, 3 different 1 hour long sessions. And then I'll be doing a bunch of other classes coming up. I'll be doing virtual for a lot of them, so everyone can attend. And then we'll be doing live and virtual business planning, and we'll be adding in some others as well. And if you guys have some things that you want to open up, then we can put them on there as well. Let us know. We'll get them on the calendar so everyone can attend. Reminder about Build 23 and EXPCon. Get yourself registered, get through that process. You can always sell tickets and that kind of stuff later on if life changes and you're not able to go. But we encourage everybody to get that, especially get rooms and that kind of, those are usually in high demand. Okay. Phew. So a lot of information. I know for some of you, you may have known that and everything else like that. But as we continually get new people in, we're going to put some of this stuff through and put it onto a video so that as new people join, there's a welcome video that's for the FYR group and that kind of stuff. So everyone knows where to go find stuff. So you guys bring people in, they'll know where the resources are, and what to do. So we won't have to share it with the whole group every time. But I want to make sure everybody knows it. And I learned a long time ago, working on leading realtors, I think the saying is tell them what you told them and then tell them again. Because with everything going on all the time, I know you guys have a ton of information coming at you, on a daily basis. So I want to share a little bit with you guys this time right now. I know we got a bunch of people that are on camera. So thank you for those of you that have your cameras on. I know some of you are not in a spot where you can have your camera on, so no worries. But the market right now is I just been saying funky, but right. I mean, it's interesting out there. It's hot and cold at the same time. Does that make sense? It's just weird. And it's not, it doesn't feel like it's even like from week to week or even day to day. It's just up and down, and the inventory is bizarre, and people's mindsets are funky, and they're seeing different things in the news and everything else. And it's just weird. It's a weird time in real estate right now. However, it's still a really good time in real estate. I mean, there's still, despite external forces seemingly wanting to make it harder and harder for people to buy and sell real estate, it's still happening, right? It's extremely resilient. There's still lots of properties that are flying off the shelf. It's still hard to find inventory and that kind of stuff like that. There's still a lot of stuff going on. And there's still a lot being moved, even though I've seen someone posted recently and they said, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is the only active listing in our market right now. Right. I mean, it's a smaller market, but they literally we have the listing. If anyone wants to move into this area, this is your choice. You can have this or this. It's wild. It's wild. But the good news is that done right, there's still enough happening out there, right? That you can help your clients hit their goals and you can hit your goals in real estate. The opportunity is still there. And what's really good is, I want to be careful how I say this, but there's a lot of people getting out of the business right now, right? And I don't ever hope for anyone to fail at all, ever. However, there's some people that aren't willing to put in the time and effort to make it work in the business. And when it's super easy, those people can be in here and really not work that hard and make some money enough to stay in the business. But when it gets difficult, a lot of those people wash out. Right. And they're not going to pay their dues and their fees and everything else like that and not make any money. But the ones that are still serious about it are in, but it creates that opportunity. So what's happening is as the herd thins a little bit, it actually creates more opportunity. And those that lean in right now and do the right stuff and really build it, you'll take advantage of all the opportunity you can right now. But when the market turns again, you're going to be uniquely positioned to explode forward with the next market expansion. And so that's, I'm encouraging you guys to lean in and do. So I'm going to talk through some of the basics. There's 4 pillars of structuring your real estate business. And I think this is some things where, again, if you're newer in the business, you can go through and make sure you're applying these things. If you've been in it for a while, my experience tells me that, there are people that have been in it for a while that get relaxed or maybe sloppy, or maybe just kind of have moved on from the basics, if you will. And we forget that those are the pillars that constantly build the business. So in times of adjustment and that kind of stuff, it's good to go back and make sure your foundation's super strong. And so it's a time to go back and just kind of check your business. So there's 4 key areas. One's having a clean and complete database, having detailed transaction history, a structured financial report, and informative market share data. So I'm gonna talk about those real quick and just kind of go through it and talk about, what do we mean by those and how do we use those to make sure your business is real strong. And hopefully this will be helpful to you guys as you're going through. So I want you guys to, you're gonna rate yourself, okay? So be brutally honest. On a scale of 1 to 10, on the next slide, I'm gonna give you these things. On a scale of 1 to 10, so 1 is I haven't even really thought about this for my business, and 10, I've already nailed it, right? Where are you? So go ahead and rate yourself on this. On the first one, I have one clean, complete, and current database for all my clients. Give yourself a rating on a 1 to 10, okay? 1 to 10. All right, next one. I have a detailed history of my transactions for the past 5 years or more. Now, you may not have been doing this for 5 years since I started, if you're less than 5 years. All right. Okay, the next one. I have a 5-year history of financials, including all income and expenses, business. Okay, scale of 1 to 10. And the last one, I have informative market share data broken down by type and area. 1 to 10. So if I popped into your office right now and said, show it to me, how would it look? Right? Could you grab it real quick? I mean, not could you go get it? Could you go find it? But do you have it right there that you're using, looking at, and everything else? All right. So how'd you guys scale? How'd you come out? All 10s? Rick got all 0s. Everybody 50-50? Grady's like, all right, well, you're not alone. You're not alone. Those of us that have been doing this for a while know that these are the things that either people never put in place or they put in place and they start off really good. It's like a business plan. Create a really good business plan and then you put it in your drawer and then you forget to pull it out until the next year when you do your business plan again. So a lot of times we start on these things and then we don't keep going with them. So let's talk through how to put some of those in place, get you guys structured. So number one, database. So, it's the ability to quickly, consistently, and purposefully communicate with your sphere of influence is what turns your business from a hopeful opportunity to a successful reality. Okay, and that's, look at these words in here: quickly, consistently, and purposefully. Right? Those are the keys in communicating with your database. And that's one of the biggest reasons for having a database in the first place, right? It's the communication. It's being able to stay in touch with your current clients, your past clients, and everything else, and there's so many reasons why it's important. But the size of your database, I mean, I think we can all understand that the size of your database is going to determine the outcome that you can get. The more people that you can communicate with, the more opportunity that you have. If your sphere is really small, right, then you're only going to get so many opportunities out of that sphere. If your sphere is really big, but your database is really small, then you're wasting opportunity, right? I've talked to lots of people like that, and they have a massive sphere of influence. They have so many connections and so much opportunity, but they're waiting for their phone to ring, right? They're not doing anything purposeful to build business relationships out of that database, right? So the size of it is one thing. The accuracy of it is huge, right? People, hopefully if they move because you worked with them, but do you have their current address in there? Do you have their current email address in there? Do you have their current phone number and all of those things, right? So the accuracy of your database is really important. Have any of have they gotten married or divorced? Is their name changed? Is whatever it is. So all of those things, and and then all of the other details and the ways that you can communicate with them are key. So here's a list, right? And you guys will get this, and I'll share this out with you, and you can get the video and everything else. But here's a list of some of the key stuff to have in there, right? So having in a complete database. So obviously, name, email address, phone numbers, all the different kinds of phone numbers where you might want to reach them, their home addresses, birthdays, anniversaries, where they work, who their employer is, what kind of job they do, where you met them. right? Where did this lead come from, or where did the relationship come from? What kind of relationship is it? Is it family, friend, neighbor, past coworker, friend of a friend, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They come off of a Zillow lead at one point. Notes on your correspondence, right? When you call someone, I have a horrible memory. I have an awful memory, and I think honestly, you know, my boating accident didn't really help with my memory either. But you know, so I take lots of notes, and then my notes are my memory. And so, you know, the older we get, the more important taking notes becomes. And so, you know, having all of that information there in the conversation, but when you talk to them and they shared with you something going on in their lives, right? Then the next time you talk to them and you ask them about that, right? They feel like they're the only person that you're working with or communicating with. You're not a number. You're not trying to get business out of them. It's a relationship. And that goes, I mean, those people want to refer you or use you 10 times more because they feel that there's a real relationship there instead of just like, oh, I'm a client or whatever, you're calling me to get business. And it's a whole different mindset. So, you know, information about spouse, partner, significant other, family, kids' names, if they're grandkids or whatever it is, all their hobbies, interests, organizations that they're part of, and that kind of stuff, right? And then any kind of transaction history, right, or referral history. Who are the people that they have referred to you over time, right? And reminding them about those things and about all that kind of stuff, that the people that you've worked with for them, thanking them again for the Smiths, because man, they're such a wonderful couple and I loved working with them and I really appreciated that. And then it reminds them to maybe think of who else they might be able to refer to you, right? And they go, oh yeah, you did a really great job for them. They were really happy about that. Let me see who else I've got. The categories and hobbies, if you think about it, you know, I've got, you know, like we have season tickets to Philadelphia Wings, you know, box lacrosse. So when we can't go to the games, you know, we look in the database and say who might want to go. Are they interested in lacrosse? Do they have kids who like sports? Do they have, you know, are they, you know, local in Philadelphia? Like the different types of connections to purposefully make connections and offer that opportunity. If if the PGA Tour is coming through and they're playing up at Marion Golf Club up here, and we go, great, let's, you know, we can get some tickets and some passes to go in there. Awesome. Or I've got, you know, hey, guess what? There's a charity golf tournament coming up. Who in our group is in that area that plays golf? Christiana, right? And right. So I reached out to Christiana and said, hey, I know you're playing golf. Let's go hang out. Right. So that's, you know, that's our database of knowing who to reach out to and who to connect with and that kind of stuff. So knowing all the things about the people in your group, now you can, if something's happening, you can actually put something out of interest to them. We'll talk about segmentation and everything else in a minute. Benefits of having a single database. How many of you have like 5 different databases or 7 or whatever, right? Do you have names and contacts in your phone, right? And then do you also use, you know, maybe KV Core? And maybe do you also have some kind of a mailing thing? Do you also have some kind of app that you use? Maybe you have send out cards, right? Do you have different addresses and all of these different things and different contacts and all of these different things, right? And so, you know, how many of you met someone somewhere and then put them in because I didn't get their last name at the time, and now they're in my phone as Bob, and I've got Bob and I've got Bob's phone number, and I don't know anything else about Bob except for his phone number, and his name's Bob. All right. And then later on, I'm like, oh, I can't send Bob anything. I don't know anything about Bob. I don't even know his last name. So, you know, that's where, you know, I've got that kind of stuff and contacts in the phone, but then, you know, we go to send out other stuff and I've got, you know, all names and addresses over here. Maybe I did a mailer. I've got them all on this thing and they're all addresses are in here, but I don't have their cell phones or their other phones. I just have their name and their address, but I don't have their phone, but their phone number's in my phone. I don't have their address in my phone because, you know, do you take the time to sit down and put everyone's address in your phone, right? So you go through and you look at all the places where you've got all these different contacts. It's not one single source of truth. Now, maybe you go start another, you say, hey, I'm going to go get this CRM. I'm going to go pay for that. I'm going to go get Follow Up Boss or whatever. And I'm going to put all my information in Follow Up Boss. Well, the problem is I can't extract all of my information to then move it over to Follow Up Boss to have all of the information in Follow Up Boss. So what I end up doing is spending $500 a month on Follow Up Boss, but I'm only using a tiny, you know, it's like buying a Lamborghini and then sitting in the Lamborghini and turning the blinker on and off. right? That's all I can do in this thing, right? I don't have gas in the car, so I can't actually drive it anywhere, but I can turn the blinker on and off. It's got the coolest blinker. Have you seen it? So like that, when you go buy a great database, a great system, a great CRM, but you can't do everything with it because you don't have all the stuff in it, right? So having it all in one place allows you to carry it with you. It also allows you to do really, really specific targeting to the right people in your database with the right activities and the right information. Nothing screams like, I don't actually care about you, like receiving a message from someone about something that has nothing to do with you, right? I got, people blast out all different kinds of stuff. I get emails. I'll show you guys something that will probably, some of you will like. So see that right there? I have 82,000 unread emails. 82,000 unread emails. Now, it's all garbage email. It's all whatever. I'm trying to go through and I'm unsubscribe from all my lists and do the whatever. And I don't ever get this down to zero, but I clean it up, quite a bit and get rid of tens of thousands of emails. And then within a couple of days, it's like back up again. There's so much garbage. I go through and I look at the emails and I have people, and of course, the title that I've had, people send me stuff trying to get business all the time, but they send me things about like, we can help you generate more buyer leads. And I'm like, I have not represented a buyer since 2002. I don't need any buyer leads. I get all that stuff coming through in LinkedIn. Man, people want to be connect with you on LinkedIn, and then they blast you with all kinds of stuff about what they can do for you in your business. And I'm like, did you even look at my profile? That has nothing to do with me. And I instantly remove that connection, because I don't want to be connected with someone who's just out there to make money off of me and doesn't care about who I am. They're not offering something specific to me and how it can help me. They're not even interested in how they can help me. I want someone who wants to help me. And if you want to help me, get to know who I am and what my needs are. So if you're blasting stuff out to your sphere and it has nothing to do with anything they might be interested in, they feel like a number and they don't feel like it's a personal connection. Now they just feel like you're trying to make money off of them, and that you just damage the relationship. So having your database really strong with the right information allows you to be targeted in what you send out and to whom you send it to. It makes a difference. All right. So that's number one. Number two, transaction history. Why do we care about transaction history? Well, I am a big believer in the fact that the numbers reveal your strategy. Your numbers reveal your strategy. They tell you exactly what to do. That's the coolest thing. So as you're selling houses, as you're building your business, the better you track and the more that you're paying attention to what you're doing, the more you're going to know exactly what you need to do moving forward. You're going to know how to make money. You're going to know how to make the most money. You're going to know how to make the best use of your time. So the kind of stuff you need to have, the year, month, number of listings, units taken, the volume, closed units and volume, property type, average list price, average sold price, average days on market, GCI, total gross commission income, and the lead source, right? These are the things that you want to be tracking on your transaction history. Now, most of the stuff is tracked for you within EXP system, right? You can go into your dashboard and do all of that kind of stuff. A lot of us are familiar with having a trend report, right? So if you are familiar with the trend report, this is the way that I like to look at it. This is a smart format. And you lay it out there and you have you have the months, or I'm sorry, you have the years stacked up and you have it across the months. And then you're looking at, hopefully you guys can see that, but again, we'll send this out there to you. But this is just a sample of, what this could look like to go through and track it. But when you look at a trend report, you can see how things are moving. You can start to learn the seasonality of your business. Now, we're going to talk about market reports in a minute, but understanding the seasonality of your business and how that's moved. And if you can compare that to the market, right? There's a lot of things that you can do with that information. So you have your specific business, then how the market went. And you can see, are you going exactly with the market? Are you flowing up and down with the market as the market goes up and down? And is there a regular pattern to your business? If you live in a resort area, your seasonality is going to look different than from someone who lives in suburbs of a major city or lives in a major city, or different parts of the country. If it's Florida is going to be different than Maine when it comes to seasonality, because people are out at different times looking at houses depending on weather and everything else. If you're in an area where there's, great schools and all that kind of stuff, then there'll be a lot of movement around school times. If you're in an area where there's, more retirees, then that there are going to be other factors, of, when snowbirds are coming in and out and that kind of stuff, of when people are looking at property. So you have to understand your local market and when the trends are, because you have to be ready when you're going to be marketing. If you're going to be talking to people about getting their house ready to be listed, you want to do that at the time where your market is peaking or preparing to peak to have listings on the market, right? You have to, and if the seasonalities are all different, then you want to look at, when do I typically get business, right? When are my strongest months and why? Okay, for me personally, my strongest month, December, was always one of my strongest months. And people also, most people were asleep in December, right? It was always literally one of my best months ever. And so it's like, well, why is that? So I look back at the trends and figure out what that was and what was happening. And, could I apply some of the things I did to make the a non-traditionally strong month? If I could make that strong, could I make other months strong, right? What can I apply to different timeframes? And then how do you remove the gaps in your income? Anybody's checks go like this, right? Okay, make a lot of money, not making any money, not making any money, making a lot of money, right? Well, how do you smooth that out, right? Well, you have to be prepared. You have to know, man, every year during this time, I have no closings, right? How do I change that? Well, you're not going to change it in the month. You have to change that many months before in lead generation and working with people and setting up settlements so that settlements are happening during that month. You don't normally have settlements, but you have to know why you don't have settlements in that month. So all of this information tells you what's happening in your business and then shows you how to build it. And what's awesome is, as you smooth out some of these, different peaks and valleys and everything else, if you smooth out some of the valleys and you lift those up and then you capitalize on the opportunity in the peaks, right? Then now you're building a business that builds on itself and continues to grow. So it's going to show you how to do it. But a data-driven business strategy is going to show you how to do better. And so you need to know your own information, and then you need to know the market information. Okay, so percentage. When you look at your overall business and you say, how many buyers am I working with and how many sellers am I working with? What percentage of my business is listings and what percentage is buyers? What does that tell you? Now, if you're a buyer's agent, of course, you're going to be all buyers, and that's okay, right? That's where your focus is. But if you're a solo agent or you're handling both sides and you're handling everything, then you want to look at that and say, hey, if I'm getting listings, am I getting buyers from my listings? Right? The opportunity, it is way more typical to get business from listings than it is from buyers. You can get business from buyers. You can get additional transactions and opportunities from working with buyers, but it's way easier and more typical to get them from listings. If you are doing both sides, but you have more listings than buyers, then I would suggest that you're missing opportunity to capture buyers off of your listings, right? So, and you want to look at those percentages. If you have a huge outsized portion on buyers and really, really low on listings, then you're probably not focusing enough on getting listings, right? And so how do we do that? Because if you can get that many buyers without having that many listings, imagine how many buyers you could get if you could get a few more listings, right? So how do we make that happen in your business? So knowing what the percentage is and then what's appropriate. Also look at your obviously looking at your market on these different things and a comparison. Look at your lead sources and the percentage of your closed sales. Right? How many of your leads came from referrals? How many of them came from buying leads? How many of them came from, something that you sent out or whatever it is, any marketing that you've done or any of those things, right? So you're looking at your lead sources and then having a percentage of total deals that lead source represents. Because when I sit down, you guys know how many interviews I've done with agents, and I would ask them, we talk about their business and they'd say, okay, I closed 12 deals last year. And I go, great. Where did they come from? What's your primary lead source? And they're like, oh, I'm all referrals, and I'm like, oh, awesome. All right, cool. So I have your transaction history here, right? Because I can pull that off. Let's go. I just have the addresses and stuff. Let's go through. So 123 Maple Street. Where did that? And they're like, oh, that actually was from this. We'd go through the thing. And what they thought was their primary lead source was rarely actually their primary lead source. Because most people don't know. They're not going through and tracking. And it feels like I'm getting all my business from here. I had agents that say, I can't come to your company because I get all my leads through our reload program, or I get all my leads from Desk Duty. And I'm like, really? Okay, well, that's a lot of leads from Desk Studio. It's never really seen that. Let's go through. And we go through, and it turns out like 2 of the deals, they were just the 2 of the recent deals came from Desk Studio. You know, all the other deals came from, you know, referrals and relationships that they have and everything else. And I'm like, so will all of those people still work with you if you move companies? Yes. Okay, great. So you can move companies. So understanding where they come from, but then understanding where your opportunity is. Number one, if you're getting a ton of deals from referral, that's amazing. You're doing it, something you're doing it right. So how do you get more deals through referral? How do you reward? Are you doing anything to encourage that behavior to continue so that it doesn't dry up? How do you make sure that keeps going, and how do you expand on that? But what about all these other sources that you're not getting from, because you're getting, you know, your phone's ringing enough from referrals that maybe you haven't put as much effort into some of these other areas. And what if we just put a little bit of effort into some of these, your number 2 and number 3 areas, and beef those up a little bit, right? All right, so understanding where they're coming from. Average sales price. Your average sales price, I mean, the average sales price for most people is just the total of the volume that they sold in the last year divided by the number of units that they sold, right? It's not purposeful, it just happens, right? Well, do you know your average sales price can be purposeful? Like, you can determine what your average sales price is by determining what market you want to be working in, and then determine how to get business in that market. So you don't have, you know, I would also encourage you to look at what homes are moving, you know, what's the average sales price in your market, but I would go farther than that and look at what price points are moving in your market and what price points look like they're going to be moving over the course of the next year, and why, right? You want to fish where all the fish are going to be. If you're like, well, you know, I work with, you know, homes, you know, at average 425. That's my sweet spot. 425 is, you know, that's where, you know, all my homes are, you know, in that general price point, couple above, couple below, but that's really where I go. And you go, okay, so, you know, but then over the course of the, you know, the next year ahead, either the market below that or the market above that is going to be super hot, and that particular market is going to cool off. If you keep focusing on that price point, you're cutting your opportunity. So, not saying stop in that, but also start thinking about talking to people and hanging out where the people are in the price point that's going to be moving really fast over the course of the next year. Jump into the fastest moving river. Average days on market, you know, and that's something where you really want to look at the market and see how you compare to the market, to understand how are you doing, right? And if you're doing great, that's something that you utilize out there when you talk to people. Right. If you're going on a listing presentation, you know, hey, the market's average days on market is here. Mine is here. I'm outperforming the market. Right. And another thing to look at is average sold price as a percentage of original list price. You know, are you helping get your sellers the maximum amount? Did you know in our market, you know, the average sold price is 98% of the original list price. But for me, I'm getting my sellers 110% of original list price on average. Who do you want to list with? The average realtor out there or me? Okay. Even if you sold one house, if you did a killer job selling that house, it's still your average, right? That's okay. But know those numbers, know where the market is. Oh, and by the way, if you're underperforming compared to the market, figure out why. It's almost always price. Right? But you got to figure out, do you need to have better conversations with your sellers? Do you need to do a better job helping determine the price in the first place? Do you need to not take listings with super unrealistic sellers that are never going to sell? Right? I mean, how do you get it back into, you know, where you're getting it sold in the right place? What is happening? Because that's, you know, there's a lot of you know, unpaid commission being held hostage by overpriced listings. Right? Okay. So property types, as a percentage of total units, where you're working in, single families and all that kind of stuff like that. We had somebody, you know, every market has like their condo queen, or right. Everyone's got someone like they sell all the whatever, they do all the townhouses, they're doing all the multifamilies, they're the investor person. You know, if that's your specialty, look at where your market percentage is and everything else, capitalize on that. I'd put that in your marketing. Seasonality, right? We talked about that. And then business growth. Trend, what's the trend? Is it trending up? Is it trending down? What's the comparison? You don't get to the end of the year and get paid what you got paid because that's what you got paid. Like, don't wait to the end of the year to look at your 1099 and your expenses and go, I made a lot less this year, right? Or wow, I made a lot more. Like, be purposeful, be tracking it, and then know how it's trending against previous years. All right, I know I'm coming down to the end here, so I'm going to go super fast and then we'll talk more about this. I'll do a recording on the rest of the information because hopefully this is helpful to you. So having your financial reports, this is something where we're actually going to do a whole class on this as we get later in the year, and especially going into business planning on this and understanding what to track. This is something where as independent contractors, we tend to be really, really bad at it. Just as an industry, this is not typically an area of strength for us. In here. So, what do you track? How are you collecting the numbers? What are you doing with them? Right. So, GCI, your cost of sales, right? Your cost of sales are any commissions. So commissions off at the top, that might be referral fees. If you have a team, then it's a team split, that kind of stuff, right? So you're looking at that. So then you have your gross profit, then you're taking out your expenses, and you have your net profit. So it may look something like this. Okay, so here's some of the examples. Again, I'm going to send this out to you guys so you have it. I won't read through the whole thing, but you break down this entire process, okay, and you break down your expenses. And if you have business expenses, you should be tracking them really carefully, right? If I encourage you to have some way to separate your personal expenses from your business expenses, a different credit card, a different account, or anything else like that, debit card, credit card, whatever it is. Have a way to track all of that. Number one, it makes it way easier come tax time to separate everything out. I use this card for everything. If I'm going to have a lunch with a client, if I'm going to spend, buy a marketing thing, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, I'm using this card all the time, all my business stuff. That way you literally can just take your credit card receipts, your report from your credit card company, hand it to your accountant and say, here are my business expenses. It's all right here. So having it separate, but then separating it out of what am I spending on different areas in my business? And am I overspending on stuff? How many people have things that you've signed up for monthly whatever's for something, and then you stop using it, but it's still coming out every month, but it's on some random credit card and you don't even realize it. And it's been 6 months and you're spending $50 a month on something that you're not using anymore, right? Guilty, been there. So tracking all of those things, but also maximizing your write-offs. Right? Track all your expenses so you can write off as much as possible. So real quick, understanding your client acquisition cost and your cost per sale. These are really, really important because when it comes down to slicing and dicing and how much are you willing to pay to buy a lead? Well, if you don't know how much you're actually making, right, it's hard to know what your net is on every closed sale because so much of it is spread out. Do you have a transaction coordinator? Are you spending money on that? Do you have an admin or anything like that? Maybe a VA that does some certain things for you. Are you buying leads? Do you have some other tools that you use? You're using a database that you're using to send stuff out from? Do you have some marketing campaigns that you're doing? Are you how much are you spending on your signs? You go through the entire thing and you say, hey, when I close a sale and I make $10,000 in commission off of that closed sale, how much am I netting? How much am I actually getting? Because it doesn't matter how much you gross, it only matters how much you net, right? How much is left to go fund your life, right? FYR, fund your reason. Well, how much are you actually left with? It feels like I got $10,000 because all the other expenses were in the past. So I got $10,000, but you didn't really get $10,000. How much did you actually get? Right? So it's really important to know. And then the better that you can increase the gap between what you spent and what you get to keep, right? The more that you can increase the gap, you can do less business and make more money if you run your business right. Then if you increase the amount of business you're doing, but you're doing it in the right way, then you're really accelerating how much money is going in your pocket and what you're able to do as you grow from there. So understanding the client acquisition costs, which is just total lead generation costs divided by the total closed units, and then the cost per sale is the total expenses divided by your closed units. Okay. All right, just going through real quick, tracking your numbers, going through your targets. And the last one, market share. I've taught an entire day's class on this. So this is like a full, really long class, but understanding how to segment your database, right? And how to drive this and communicate with them in the right way is super, super important. Okay. So doing market status reports. I'm going to take us. I know we're running out of time, and I apologize. This is way more data than I was originally anticipating. So I just got excited about it. So we'll go through in more detail on this because this is really important. But doing market status reports, communication with your clients, on the market, but then also having your own status and your own, data on your own business results that you can compare to the market. So these are things that you're tracking on your status report, some sample status reports for clients. And then the 4 key areas of segmentation being geographic, psychographic, behavioral, and demographic. So I'll talk more in detail on this. I'm going to put together a video talking through this in more detail so you guys can have this. Some of you were in the class that I taught live up here in Pennsylvania a couple of months ago. So we'll drive through this, but breaking down your database into different types allows you to really powerfully communicate with your database in a way that's meaningful for them. And this is something that can really accelerate not only, your communication with the people that you know, but as you get into marketing strategies, this helps you to dig into certain segments, and you have to go small to go big. So you drive this down into key areas and you really hit on what's important to them, then you capture that business, and that opens up a door to a whole world. So it's like, if you think about a door being, a fourth of the size of a regular door. If you're going to open that door and you want to walk through that door, you got to get down really, really small and kind of crawl through the door. But then there's a huge room on the other side of that door, right? But in order to get into that door, you got to get down really small to get through that door. So when you want to unlock a whole world of opportunity in business, you have to break it down and really focus in on what is key to the people that you're trying to get business from, to really understand their relationships, understand their needs and their perspectives, and to speak their language and all that kind of stuff. You really have to drill it down. But once you do, you have access to that entire market segment, and you get to pick which segments you want to work with and which ones have the most opportunity inside your market, because every market is different. Look at your market, look at what segments are most prevalent, where you have the most opportunity, who you're going to best connect with, and then really drill down on that segment. Once you get that locked in, you will capture, you can like, hey, I sell all the houses in this one neighborhood. That's great. But if I said I sell all the houses with everyone who works with horses anywhere in the, in that entire segment, right, in an area where everyone's got horses, right? If you're in an area with a ton of horses, well, that's great. Now you've unlocked all of those people. Forget one community. I'm working with a community of people, and it opens up a lot more. So there's a lot of different ways to look at how you want to capture your business. All right, so I want you guys to think about it, go through and then rank yourself on this over time. I'm gonna dig in a little bit more on this so you can kind of go through and click on it. We'll send this out. I want you to go through and look at what you've got in your business. But those components are the key, the 4 pillars of a structure to your business that will absolutely give you your roadmap. That's your GPS to build your business and to take it where you want to go. And then as you do business, it will show you where to steer. It'll show you what direction to go in as you're going through. It's going to give you all of the information on how to build your business. That's the coolest thing. So, and you plan out your action steps. Some of you are nailing some of those areas of your business, and some of you have, some of those are wide open that you haven't really done anything with. So look at those, look at which ones are going to impact the most, and then how to, where do you start to get that going? Okay. Phew. Is that kind of information, is it helpful to you guys? Kind of stuff that we can continue putting out there? Good.
Absolutely.
Cool. Good. Thanks, Grady. So, I want to make sure that we're sharing as much of this as possible, especially, right now with the market. Guys, I want you to capitalize on the opportunity that's there. And I want you to get yourself in the best possible position to accelerate, right? And so I want you to get lined up where you're capturing the most that you can out of all the opportunity that's in front of you right now, and setting yourself up in a great spot, because nobody knows market's going to be up and down and all that kind of stuff, and where it's going to go and how long things are going to take and what changes we're going to see. But the opportunity is there to make what you want to make and what you need to make right now. And then when the market starts to go back into another, where it's easy again, so to speak, right? You're going to be positioned in a way that other people are not positioned. Other people are going to be scrambling to get going. I think about it this way: if you're waiting on the train or the subway to come or something like that, and you sit down on the floor in the subway and you spread out a bunch of stuff on the ground, you got your bag, you open up your bag and you're sorting through your suitcase or whatever, and then the train pulls up, right? You're trying to stuff everything in your suitcase and get it zipped back up again so you can jump on the train and take off, right? But if you're standing on the, on the line with your bag in your hand, that thing pulls up, you just jump on and go. And so that's what we want to get all of our business totally structured and set up. So when that train comes to go take off and go to the business, you're not sitting there trying to figure it out and slam it all together to prepare for it, because we know when the market hits, it hits fast, it hits overnight. And so that those are prepared, start taking advantage of it from the beginning as the market starts to accelerate, and you are way out ahead of everybody else by the time they get caught up, because they're stuffing everything in their suitcase trying to figure it out. So get your businesses in order. It'll help you right now. It'll help you do great business right now and take advantage of the opportunity that's there now, but it'll also put you in the best possible position to accelerate forward. So we'll keep doing it, and we'll keep sharing this information, and look forward to watching everybody's business continue to explode. Congrats to all the success you guys are having out there. We're excited for you. We're here to help anything that we can do. Appreciate you guys, and have an awesome weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. Great to
Thank
see
you.
everybody.
Great to see you guys. We'll see you soon.